I know you guys did a video. I'd have gotten more pretty.
I don't know how you can do that, boy. What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Lose the shirt.
Kenny just said I didn't realize we were doing video and audio. Otherwise, I would have just said I would have got myself more pretty. And I told him you can't get more pretty than that, boy. You can't have two number ones. That makes 11. But it's interesting you saying that because we're getting back to the influences. My dad, on Saturday mornings, we would listen to. Whenever the cartoons were over, Soul Train would come on. We'd turn down the volume, and he'd put records on, all kinds of different stuff. Yeah. But he did turn me on to like Marvin Gaye and James Brown, and Miles Davis. And what's cool is you sound like me as far as the genres that you like music in because I saw an interview with Miles Davis one time, and he said, I listen to anything as long as it has soul. And you can tell right off the bat whether it has soul or not. Yeah, yeah. And if it doesn't have soul, then it's trash. If it does, then it's got my ear. And he's like, I don't care what genre of music you're talking about.
I heard a great thing on, I think it was NPR the other day, they were talking about Miles. Don Cheadle was talking about Miles Davis.
Oh, no shit.
He's on there. He's trying to do a film about him or whatever. But he had this great quote from, I can't remember it exactly, but it was something along the lines of like, when he was trying to describe his music, he didn't even like calling it jazz. Like he just wanted to be soulful. Like he thought it was past jazz, like what was in it. Like he thought that was too constricting. But like he said, he just didn't really matter what it was.
Right.
Like, labels aren't really any fun anyway.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because if I was to have to, and this is what really upsets me, is a lot of people in the industry say, well, if you talking to an executive and they ask you what genre of music you are, and you say I don't know, then they're not gonna like that. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm an artist. I'm not the one that puts labels on shit. They are the ones that put the label on shit. So make them label that shit. I don't want to have to fucking do it. But still, to this day, I had to force myself to be like, I'm blues rock, or whatever.
Well, we tell people we're country, and people just are a lot of time, not all the time, not even most of the time, but a lot of times are just kind of like, oh, that doesn't really sound like country, It's like,
well, a lot of people have a different idea of what country is.
I say it doesn't really sound like the shit you hear on the radio now.
Well, like I had Jason White in here a couple of weeks ago, and he has to me a more of a pure country sound.
Yeah, he does. He did that open mic up there a couple times with us.
Yeah. And so I was like. And I like that. I like the old Hank Williams. I like, I like that old pure country. And like, George Strait is a good example of that. And, but then you got you guys like Travis Tritt or Kenny Chesney. Kenny Chesney's new album is a pretty fucking rocking album. Yeah. It's pretty close to rock and roll.
It's frustrating because, those guys like Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, all these guys. I think they're just doing pop now. I don't really think they're doing country, and I don't see.
I think
it's this weird culture is just following it and letting it go in this really awful direction. In my personal opinion,
hey, I made a statement about I don't like hip hop.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" I mean, and then Nelly came to the stadium with damn, who was
Florida Line,
and I'm like, I don't get it. But at the same time, whenever rap first came out, my dad came in my room and I was listening to rap, and he was like, "I just don't fucking get it," So I feel like my dad at this point. I mean, like maybe hip hop's the new fucking thing. I don't fucking know.
I'm a big hip hop fan.
Me too.
I played it for a little while. I lived in New York and worked for a production company up there and got to work with a lot of really awesome musicians and hip hop artists. And I love country music, down to its old core roots and down to the blues of it. But I just don't see that line. That doesn't really mesh well together with me. And it doesn't seem the thing that blows my mind about it is just the cultural aspects. I love them both, but they're not ones that really go together.
Right.
They don't really merge well together.
It doesn't make sense to me, but at the same time, it kind of does because it's more of because if you would believe this about a lot of hip hop, it's an economic thing. So a poorer area listens to a certain type of rap, and they listen to a certain type of country. And there's a lot of poor white people out there, folks. And so it's not so much a race thing; it's an economic thing.
Yeah, it's a social and cultural thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you do combine those two ingredients, then you're. Now I understand maybe sampling some country music and putting it in a rap song, like maybe the banjo sounds cool in some rap songs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's just a fucking sample. It's not. It's not this rap dude. Acting like he's an old redneck. I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, the two most popular genres of hard copy media that still sell, like CDs and I guess CDs, pretty much are what's left.
Yeah.
For the majority that still sell is to the country and to the rap genres.
Right.
I mean, that's.
Well, they're the ones spending the money. That's for
yeah.
damn
I was about to say they come out there. It seems to me it's more of like the blue collar working class fan bases, but those are the ones that support more than anything else.
Well, they had the lax at fucking Coyotes, and please, people, don't get upset with me, but I think the lax are a bunch of hacks, fucking hacks that got lucky on the internet. But God bless them for doing that. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming you for listening to the shit.
Yeah, everybody needs.
They were packed at Coyotes. You know what I'm saying? And you get a real musician in there, and sometimes you might have 15, 20 people in there. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah, I got in a long discussion and debate on Facebook. I posted something about that Chilling on the Dirt Road song. It's just everywhere we play, it's, we tell them we're a country band or whatever. So it's almost like if we come in, we tell someone we're a country band or a blues band or whatever, the place that we're playing almost makes whatever we're doing almost like a caricature of itself. So like we tell them we're a country band. So on breaks, they just play this horrible, just over the top, just bad redneck music. Kind of thing.
That's one of the things that I like to have control of. If you're playing in a place, I have certain types of music that we play in between the sets during breaks. And if you have control of that shit, you want to have control of that shit because they'll put some fucking like I play blues rock, and if I'm doing an acoustic I do 3-man acoustic a lot. If I'm doing that, I do some pretty rocking shit. But then they put like Tupac on the jukebox in between sets. It just doesn't sync up right now. I love Tupac. Don't get me wrong.
I love me some Tupac.
But in the right setting, it's
Tupac
cool.
Shacker,
But you want to kind of keep that mood. Now, just recently at Sky City, man, I can't remember the name of the dude, but he's pretty famous. He came through, and he was just an acoustic act, and he said, James something or another. Damn, I can't remember. Anyway, fuck that. He came in, and he was like, Coco, I want it to be silent all the way up to my show. And he wanted it real dark. And so it was no music up until the show. Everybody gets up to the front of the stage, getting ready for him to get on the stage. He does this thing. And then after that, he had this ethereal kind of like fucking, you know what I'm saying? In between it. And it was like he's setting the mood, man, But
some hipster in the back playing a theremin.
Yeah, like a burlesque girl in a hula hoop, A girl in a Betty Boop mask coming out. What the fuck is going on? So I always ask. I try to remember to ask this question to all my guests, but I think that you'd be a good one, and it wouldn't go over your head. When I was about 4 or 5 years old. It was about 4. Yeah, it was 4. So I was outside and I was playing with my box cars, and I had this one truck and it had these big wheels on it. I pushed it off, and it went off about 5 feet in front of me, and it stopped, and the ground started to move. And then I was like this, and I shook my head, and the ground went back. It like reset, but it started to move again. And I was like, that is fucking weird. Is this even real? And then all of a sudden, the Matrix where he goes,
yeah,
right? It felt like that in real life, in my head. And then I became conscious and aware of myself. And I said to myself, holy shit, where was I just now? Because I definitely wasn't here. Have you ever asked yourself, like, where the fuck was I before I was here? Like, I feel, I have this distinct feeling like I was somewhere else, like, just a minute ago.
Yeah, man. I don't, there's always, I don't know, I hope it's with everyone and I'm not just weird, but there's always, like, haunting familiarities throughout, You just, over
Everything.
the years, you just start to realize little things, and that always makes me ponder kind of, I guess the meaning of it all, or whatever, however you wanna put it. But no, definitely, you gotta. I have no fucking clue where I came from or where I'm going or really what I'm even doing. So.
Right. And everything here just like I remember like in 7th grade I was learning about fucking photosynthesis, right?
Yeah.
And I was just so fucking blown away by that process. I was like, that is fucking magic, right? Yeah. And then I found out that the sunlight, along with the darkness, along with the minerals in the soil, along with this seed, produce these leafy vegetables that we can eat to sustain ourselves, which is nothing more than all of those things in a different form that makes us live. And it's so crazy to me because I look at everything like it's magic. And that moment whenever I saw that, and I know now it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but isn't our eyes always playing tricks on us? I mean, seriously.
And a lot of that, you got to go back to the innocence of a child, too. You didn't know your eyes were playing tricks on you, too. And that's kind of to your advantage to see the world like that, too.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. Cause
I write a lot about, over the years, I've written a lot about relegalization. Mm-hmm. I speak out about injustice, about mandatory minimums, stuff like that. And, 2 out of 3 of our criminals in the prison system right now are nonviolent criminals. We have 5% of the world's population in our country, but we house 25% or better of the world's prisoners. And it's ridiculous to me that they would privatize the prison system and allow money to be made off of this whole thing. So, but here lately, I've read a lot of, like, when Mother Teresa passed, I read her writings, and I've read a lot of MLK and stuff like that, and Gandhi, and now I'm trying to move towards more of a positive feeling instead of fighting something, fighting against it, putting the positive energy into a solution to those problems instead of the other. I mean, when you're writing, do you feel like you need to say something?
There's times when I feel like, I guess there's certain, I do get passionate about certain stances and things like that, but I always felt that I'd rather write about something that everyone, has the opportunity to relate to.
Right.
My beliefs are my beliefs, and that's fine. I have no problem talking about them, but I really, honestly, I just don't want to. I haven't found anything that's made me passionate enough like that to write a song about it.
That's probably why you have a good crowd. I fight to get people to my shows, man.
I've a lot of my favorite artists are John Prine and Jackson Browne are great examples of guys that talk about things like that say something. Jackson Browne, especially in his later career, Prine was a little more subtle with it, or at least a little more funny about it. Jackson Browne, to me, was more more serious and sincere and picking up on the darker side of things. But it's just not something that ever really came to me, or hasn't come to me yet. I'm not saying one day it won't, because it probably will. I mean, I get frustrated just like everybody else. So.
Yeah, something will pop up, and you'll have a whole bunch of money by then. You'll be like,
you can do the whole. I'm made enough to where I don't have to give a fuck what anyone else thinks.
I just got a call from a stripper, and she called me back right after I turned down the phone call. People, don't do that to me. Okay? Don't do that to Kenny George. Don't do that to Ashley Starr. We're important people, goddammit. I'm working. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be right back. Okie dokie.